Thank you for tuning in. Just wanted to make a quick video about how to survive and get through this COVID-19 coronavirus manic panic pandemic. A lot of you out there worldwide are confused, you're afraid, and you're paranoid. And none of those things are of a benefit during this time. So I just want to give you all some tips and just to help you to deal better for those things that we don't know are coming down the pipeline. Tip number one, well, these are in no particular order, by the way, but one of the first tips is to stay calm. Being fear filled, being afraid, those things are only going to affect your immune system in a negative way, and it's going to set up sickness, illness, disease, and it's going to lower your immune system. So stay calm as much as you can. Another tip is to understand that this is naturally cold, allergy, and flu season. So, in understanding that, that should reduce your panic and your paranoia. And for your choice, as a benefit, just stock up on cold, flu, and allergy medicine because that way, if that's what's going on in your body, you won't start getting paranoid and thinking that you may have something that you don't. Just stock up on those things and be prepared in the event that you start having those symptoms. Or some people take them, if you're a medicine taker, some people take them ahead of time just so they don't get the onslaught of cold, flu, and allergies. Because right now is not a good time to be going to the hospital. Another tip is to juice during this everything that's going on. Juicing is a great piece of advice for several reasons. Number one, juicing is the best way to eat um, and stretch your solid foods. A lot of people have panicked. They've gone to the grocery stores. They bought out all types of foods. And a lot of those foods you have to prepare by cooking. So juicing helps you to save those foods in the event that you have to stockpile them and need them later on and that you can cook them. And juicing helps to stretch all the solid foods that you bought. Remember, juicing is food in a liquid form. So you're still eating. It's just in a liquid form. Also, juicing has numerous benefits, and juicing is a light way of fasting. Another tip is it's kind of connected to the solid food situation, but again, as I said before, a lot of people are stockpiling up on solid foods that have to be cooked. Well, we don't know what's going to happen with the power grid. We don't know if the electric's going to shut down. We don't know the situation with the water, the power grid. You may not even be able to use your phone. So people are preparing, but in a sense that life is still going to be normal. Understand that these things may go out. The power grid may go out. You may not have electric, water, gas, or may not be able to use your cell phone. So that's a tip within itself, is to understand that. So that leads me to the next tip. Purchase or clean off and prepare your charcoal grill. All that food that you stocked up on and purchased, you may not be able to use your stove, or hey, your stove just may go out just because it's ready to go out. So get a gas grill ready in the event that you have to still cook those foods up and you can't use your stove or electric. Another tip that is useful in this time, it kind of goes along with the juicing, is to have liquid substance as foods. Have liquid food, have your water prepared. Also, liquid substances and sustenance, they suppress your appetite. And so in the event that you can't eat as much as you want because you've got to save your food, your appetite won't be as large and you won't get hungry as often. A lot of times we can panic if we're not able to eat as often as we were used to, and you may start panicking, and guess what? Subconsciously, you're getting hungry more often than normal because you know that you can't get to food like you want to. So liquid substances and sustenance, that suppresses your appetite and saves you from running through your food. That would be like your teas, in addition to your juices, your teas and stuff like that. Um, Another tip is to prepare for the uncontrollables. What does that mean? It goes along with the power grid going out. Prepare for things that are beyond your control. Again, the power going out, not being able to use your phone, not having electric or clean water. Prepare for things like invasions or home invasions, and a lot of being overcome with a lot of fear mongering information at this time. People panic, and even though this is supposed to be a time of quarantine, and a lot of cities it's more strict and a lot of cities it's not, be prepared for people to be panicking, and the possibility of home invasions may actually become a reality. So be prepared for the uncontrollables. Now that's going to lead me to my next tip as far as being prepared for the uncontrollables. Stock up. A lot of people are stocking up on foods that you need to cook. A lot of people are stocking up on non-perishable foods. But you may want to stock up on ammunition. You may want to run through drills with your family or just to remind yourself and refresh yourself. Get you some safe target practice in and practice and discuss gun safety. You never know when you may need it. Um, Another tip is to sage your home, disinfect it, keep it clean. Another tip for surviving this manic panic pandemic is to dialogue with your children. Get a natural reaction of what they think, how they feel about everything. Just get an open conversation going. Discuss to them how does this make you feel? What do you think's going on? What do you think we should do? And help them to just start thinking about something that they never had to think about before. It's a reality that they may have to get into survival mode. They may have to come up with creative ways of doing things. So get a healthy dialogue going on with your kids. Another tip, in addition to dialoguing with your children, is spend some quality time with them. Do some quality reading with them, build with them important information, do game time, do a lot of structure time, and just strategize with your children and make sure that you get in a lot of time that you lost out on being bogged down with working and everything else that we as adults have to deal with. The next tip, which would be tip number 12, again, these are in no particular order, is for yourself, read, build, revisit abandoned projects that you abandoned. For example, reading, writing, if you're a writer, if you're a playwright, if you have any type of um, mechanical things that you need to revisit, working on projects around the house, spring cleaning, anything of that nature. Revisit it. That helps keep your mind off of what's going on as well as become productive. Another tip is to exercise, build your stamina, build your strength up. Again, you never know when you have to deal with the uncontrollables, and the worst thing you can do is to be out of shape, be out of breath, and just be of no benefit to yourself or to your family. You just don't know what other people are going to do. Another tip that goes along with the exercise is to breathe, meditate, and again, stop panicking. Just breathe. Bring some type of peace of mind, because you do have to have balance as well as awareness of what's going on. Another tip in surviving the manic panic pandemic and everything that's going on is to stay hydrated. Put away the alcohol, your liquors, your weed, your drugs. Of course, put that away anyway, the drugs. But anything that's going to have you under the influence and not going to help you to react and think clearly, this is the time you want to put those things away. Another tip, this would be tip number 16, again in no particular order, is to practice some indoor planting, aquaponics. A lot of people are revisiting or into that now because with food supplies the way they are and not knowing what the future holds, you want to create your own supply of food in the event that you have to. I just lost my train of thought. Okay, so surviving the manic panic pandemic, One thing that I notice is the news and a lot of stories coming up about who has COVID-19, who's died from it, and all that. A really good tip that everyone should do is to reread, revisit, reaffirm yourself with the HIPAA laws. Okay, understand that its privacies and limits. Understand the clauses in it and how it relates to health information, disease, and understand how the HIPAA laws are when it comes to public disclosure. Understand what it entails dealing with a person's health, what can be made public by who, and understand how the HIPAA laws affects someone's health situation or condition being announced publicly, but not by them. That's a good thing to do is re-up on those HIPAA laws. Another tip in addition to that is the news media. Pay attention to their words. Utilize your common sense. That's why God gave it to you. View the news media and what's going on for awareness, not for panicking, not for spreading fear, but just beware of what's going on and stay afloat to the news. If you have to turn it off in intervals, that's great. Another tip, this would be the 19th tip. This is a good time to read, reaffirm, and reacquaint yourself with the Constitution. What are your rights as a human being? What are the laws? What are the limits of the law regarding government, um, gun ownership, IDs, martial law? You need to, it's very pertinent that you and your family discuss those things. Some people have never read the Constitution. This is the best time to begin understanding it and reading it. Some people need to go dust it off. Read the Constitution. Understand the amendments. Understand all those things. Again, as it relates to gun ownership, the laws and limits of you as a human being and the government, and martial law. That brings me to my next tip, and that would be martial law itself. Read, reaffirm, and acquaint yourself with what is martial law. A lot of people are just throwing the word around and they don't understand what it means. What is the true definition of it? What are things that happen when martial law goes into place? What are the signs of it? What are the limits? What are your rights? Reaffirm yourself with it. If you have not studied it, right now is the best time to know. A lot of people are saying that it's coming. A lot of people are saying that it's here already. A lot of people are saying that it happened years ago. Maybe about 7 years ago, 7 or so years ago. And last but not least is another tip, and that's to understand that right now this is tax season. Okay, a lot of people who just receive their taxes and still have their money, people are happier. Those people are happier, they're less edgy, and they're more permissible. Okay, they're more relaxed and they're more willing and accepting of a lot of things. So that's one end of the tax season spectrum. The other end is understand that there are people who've spent all their taxes and their tax money. Those people are more fear based, they're more willing to do whatever, and their guards are down. They're full of fear. They don't know what's going on and they're out of money. They're out of jobs at this time, too. So it's easier to herd them into things as well. So those are two types of people that exist during the tax season, and that affects them and their reactions of the reality of everything that's going on. So I want everyone out there to just be safe. I hope that you enjoyed my tips and advice. I hope that it made sense to you. Again, I'm not bringing fear, I'm bringing awareness to you, and I'm trying to basically help you to think about those things that you never thought of before, because, I'm thinking of those things myself. And just survive and get through this COVID-19 coronavirus manic panic pandemic. Thank you for tuning in.